Hello. I just finished binge watching season 1 of Penny Dreadful, so I have horror and Frankenstein on the brain, and I was really excited to find an adapted version of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein that I think would be good to use for this vocabulary lesson. And I would use it with a class at the ELI, probably high beginner to low intermediate. It's a little too basic for the academic classes, but I do think it's a good beginner it's like good beginner literature. I used two websites to create my vocabulary list, the AWL Highlighter and also the LexTutor website, which seems like a really great resource. I don't understand all the functionality, but I would definitely like to spend some more time with it. So two words from the text that were on the academic word list are create and found. Some higher level words that were repeated in the text more than once are blame, creature, monster, and candle. Some other high level words that I think are useful are secret, breathe, alive, and midnight. And then three more words that are probably less useful but fun and relevant to this reading are squirming, gloomy, and graveyard. And I like that there's two synonyms. We have creature and monster, and a couple words that are a little bit similar, like create and creature. Also, I think there's a good mix of nouns, verbs, and adjectives. Gloomy and secret, candle, monster, create, blame. So yeah, 13 vocabulary words. And to pre-teach them, I would use a PowerPoint. I would put one word on each slide with the definition, the part of speech, example sentences, some images, collocations, and a question. Maybe not all of those things, but some of those things. So for example, to teach the word breathe, I would have verb, definition, some images maybe of a person breathing outside in the cold so you could see their breath, collocations like breathe deeply or stop breathing, and then example sentences. All humans breathe air. Fish can breathe underwater. And then a question like, have you ever had trouble breathing? That they would have to ask and answer with a partner. And alternatively, I could do some of those words on the PowerPoint and have the students do some research with words and present them to the class. So I would probably give them words that are a little easier to represent in images like candle and monster, and they would have to come up with all that information and present it. For a pre-reading activity, I think it would be fun for us to create a drawing together. So maybe project on the whiteboard an image of Dr. Frankenstein standing alone in his laboratory. And as we learn the words, we have to add them to the picture and label them. So add and label a candle, add and label a clock at midnight. Maybe out the window, you can see a graveyard. For during reading, Coxhead recommends reading the text several times in different ways. So maybe the first time they would just listen to me read it out loud and have a list of the target vocabulary words that they could check off as they hear it. And then afterwards we would talk about which words they heard and if they remember the context. Then we could read it a second time when they would have the text so they could listen and read and kind of confirm what they thought they heard the first time. And then maybe they read it a third time with a partner. So one person would read a paragraph out loud while the other listens, and then they switch. So in that way, they're reading it at least 3 times. And then for an after reading activity, I thought it would be fun for them to write and perform a dialogue, a role play. So with a partner, maybe one of them is Dr. Frankenstein and the other is the monster, and they're having a conversation about debating the details of the first night that they met, or they're having an argument. Dr. Frankenstein wants the monster to move out, and the monster doesn't want to find a new place to live. And in the dialogue, they have to try to use as many vocabulary words as they can. And so they would get practice writing, because they would write the dialogue, and then practice speaking, because they'd practice and perform it. And then when they perform, the class would listen for instances of the vocabulary words. So they would also have practice with listening. So that is my gloomy, horror-themed vocabulary lesson.